Barakateh Hawa, Barakateh Hawa Shai, Barakateh Hawa, Barakateh Hawa Shai, Kal Halalam La, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Baharaka Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, salutations to the Akim, sincerely and diligently pushing this word in all sincerity and all truth. Alright, this is another MOTB update, another Mark of the Beast update. You know, we're not gonna stop doing these videos, you know, because it's here and undeniable. It is here and undeniable. Right? So let's get it. Right? This is in the NLT Ezekiel 33:1. Once a message came to me from the Lord. Son of man, give your people this message. When I bring an army against a country, the people of that land choose one of their own to be a watchman. When the watchman sees the enemy coming, he sounds the alarm to warn the people. Then if those who hear the alarm refuse to take action, it is their own fault. They die. Right? They heard the alarm but ignored it, so the responsibility is theirs. If they had listened to the warning, they could have saved their lives, right? So the warning that we're pushing out, right, is the warning of the mark of the beast, which is the implantable RFID microchip surrounded by the digital infrastructure of a digital ID and digital payment system. You know, that is what we've been pushing for years, you know, years upon years, starting with the apostles and elders, you know, on down now, before we saw these things coming to pass. And no, it is right in front of our eyes, right? It is right in front of our eyes. The latest development I'm going to bring out in this lesson is the United Nations is now proposing a digital ID linked to your bank account, right? So let me just jump down here to verse 30 before we get into it. All right, son of man, your people talk about you in their houses and whisper about you at the doors. They say to each other, "Come, let us hear the prophet. Hear the prophet tell us what the Lord is saying." So my people come pretending to be sincere, sit before you, listen to your words, but they have no intention of doing what you say. Their mouths are full of lustful words, and their hearts seek only after money. Yeah, that's you, Jake, who watch these videos for entertainment. Right? What's the new topic of the day? What's the sauce? What's the new gossip? You watch to be entertained. You don't watch to be edified. You don't watch to be instructed. You just watch to get the next gossip. Right? You like watching videos that are on the topic of women. You like watching videos that are on the topic of debates, you know, one camp going against another. Those are the videos that get the most views. Controversial videos. Videos that go into debate, videos that go into conflict between camps, right? Men getting kicked out, men, you know. That's the thing. The Al-Azhar videos, every video you do on Al-Azhar, you know, those videos got a lot of views, you know, bringing out his pagan activity. Videos on women, lot of activity, right? You are very entertaining to them. They like someone who sings love songs with a beautiful voice or plays fine music on an instrument. They hear what you say, but they don't act on it. And here's the point. But when all these terrible things begin to happen, as they certainly will, then will they know a prophet has been among them. So here we go. News and development. The United Nations has proposed a digital ID system that could be linked to bank accounts with the goal of improving financial inclusion and social protection programs. This concept, detailed in UN policy briefs, aim to create a reliable central database for financial service users to make transactions more secure, efficient, particularly for cross-border remittances. Right? We've been saying it. We've been prophesying. We've been sounding the alarm. We've been blowing the trumpet. We've been singing the song. Right? Telling you that the United Nations agenda is what every country is implementing. So I have this ongoing conversation, you know, with this chat here, you know, going back to I believe the first question was how would a modern technocracy implement a charagma? I did a video on that, like in Revelation 13 verse 16. And every time there's an update in the news, I put it into this conversation. Right? So the last thing I put into this conversation was update. The UN has proposed a digital ID linked to bank accounts. This is indeed happening. The UN has proposed linking digital IDs directly to bank accounts and mobile payment platforms. right? The UN proposal. The proposal is outlined in a section dedicated to global digital cooperation and sustainable development goals. How long have we been prophesying about the UN Sustainable Development Goals and their link to the mark of the beast in Revelation 13 verse 16 on down? Digital IDs linked with bank or mobile money accounts can improve the delivery of social protection coverage and serve to better reach eligible beneficiaries, right? So official justification. The rationale given is humanitarian, improving access to social services. Our Prime Minister said that a couple years back. Said during the pandemic, if we had the national identification system implemented already, right, along with the Jamdex, then people could have gotten aid much more quickly, right? People could have gotten more, government aid immediately instead of sending out checks in the mail, right? Financial inclusion. There are a lot of unbanked people, as they say. We need people on the grid, right, where we can see their transactions and monitor them. That's really what they want. And reducing inefficiencies in benefit distribution, just what I talked about, right? Like there's a program in Jamaica called the PATH program, where certain students get on that, they get financial assistance from the government. Parents get financial assistance from the government with their children going to school. There's the what do you call that now? The pension, the NIS, where retirees, collect, money from the government, and it's usually a check that comes in the mail that you pick up at the post office, right? That's all being done away with. Real world implementation. The consequences are already visible. Starting this month, banks all over Vietnam will begin deleting over 86 million bank accounts that have not been quote-unquote verified under the country's new digital ID scheme. This demonstrates how quickly optional systems become mandatory, right? Like we in Jamaica here, the government launched the national identification system, which they say, of course, is optional. But soon, the transition to mandatory will take place, right? 86 million accounts being deleted for lack of digital ID verification. And brothers did video on that too. The convergence, we're now seeing simultaneous developments. UK implemented mandatory digital ID. We did that, a video on that. UN proposing global digital IDs linked to financial accounts. Countries like Vietnam making digital ID verification mandatory for digital access. This represents the direct fusion of identity and economic participation, precisely the mechanism described in Revelation 13 verse 17, where the mark is required to buy or sell. This infrastructure isn't theoretical anymore. It is being piece by piece through initiatives framed as solving legitimate problems like fraud prevention, financial inclusion, and administrative efficiency. The progress from voluntary convenience to economic necessity is happening in real time, right? It's here. It is here. Kalal al Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash Shalom.